Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time now for the first panel discussion of the day. The topic of discussion is, how can schools contribute to the employability skills of their students? Kindly note that the panel discussion floor would be open for the Q&A session later. And now allow me to introduce the panelists to you. The first panelist is Ms. Revathi Srinivasan, Director, Srimati Sulochanadevi Singhania School. While she joins us on stage, I would like to give a brief introduction. A passionate educationist with over 30 years of experience, Ms. Revathi Srinivasan is a versatile educator. As someone with the experience of shaping over 5,000 brilliant minds, Ms. Srinivasan has received wide recognition for her insightful journey in education. Under her leadership, the school has bagged numerous awards, including the British Council's International School Award. Her enormous contribution to the field of education has been recognized with several prestigious awards nationally and internationally. Let's hear it, ladies and gentlemen, for Ms. Revathi Srinivasan. She will also be moderating this panel discussion. Next up is Ms. Kavita Agarwal, Director, Head of the school DG Khetan International School. Kavita Agarwal has been in the field of education for the last 43 years. She has been the Principal Director of Academics of leading national and international schools. She has specialized in setting up new schools affiliated with Cambridge International Examinations, Cambridge, UK and CISE curriculum. She has been closely associated with training and mentoring of teachers, including vice principals, principals and administrative staff. Let's hear it, ladies and gentlemen, for Ms. Kavita Agarwal. Next up is Kalyani Patnaik, Principal and Head Hiranandani Foundation School. She's an experienced school principal with a demonstrated history of working in the education management industry. Mrs. Kalyani Patnaik is an exceptional leader. She strongly believes in Robert John Meehan's words that great classrooms are characterized by positive open relationships, mutual respect and a shared responsibility in the learning process. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. Let's hear it, ladies and gentlemen, for Mrs. Kalyani Patnaik. And last but not the least is Willibrord George, founder and CEO, St. Willibrords High School. He runs a group of low-cost, affordable private schools near Mumbai and specializes in creating tech-enabled, student-driven, high-value, scalable, innovative educational processes and in-school systems that help children from all segments of the socio-economic strata to find their voice and develop agency and get an equal chance at influencing their own futures. A very warm welcome to you, sir. And over to you, Ms. Revathi, to please take forward the panel discussion. And kindly note that this is a time-bound session, so we have 40 minutes for this, including the Q&As. So request you to abide by that.
Very good morning to all of you, and it's a pleasure to be here at the Education Today's program and the National Summit. It's indeed a pleasure to have friends on your board, and it's always even greater pleasure to tickle their mind and also to get the best of the ideas across to the audience in front. I go directly to the topic, and the topic is about how do we promote employability skills in our schools. It's a very interesting topic for the simple reason that so often each one of us as educators as well as heads of schools find that we are not able to get the right person to fit the bill in our schools. If you go across the corporates, across so many companies or even to the banks, you'll find a person who has done reactor physics or astronomy as a specialized subject and moves to become a banker. And often you wonder why. The priorities are different for different people. But my question goes beyond the priorities of a person, and it goes to the point of asking ourselves, are we creating employability skills that we are talking about all the time in every platform that we are in? We talk about the 21st century skills. I think let's just kick that out And let's think about skills that we need to be able to adapt and be the best in the world that we are in. The world that we are in and the new world that we are in is going to be hugely challenging. Challenging to the effect that we must have the right kind of skills to fit in. And as a principal today or as a director today, when I'm looking at any kind of employment, I'm looking at the possibility of fitting the right attitude. So beyond the knowledge, beyond the skills and the habits that person has, I also think attitude makes a difference. But how does the attitude get impacted is what skills will give you. And today we have all our specialized people who are going to be talking in this question of employability skills in schools and development of that, but how I'm taking it across 360 degrees for the benefit of the audience. So my first question to you, Kalyani, would be, let's define employability skills, and in that, my first question to you would be, what are the three greatest employment or employment skills that I can say, or competencies that you would like to focus on in developing in students, and why do you think these kind of skills are important? So just name three and why are they important?
Good morning, Education Today. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and good morning to everybody present here. I really find that this topic is something that we have to delve into very seriously, because what are we heading towards? The ultimate aim in the field of education. Post-COVID, we have learnt a great deal that there is something known as skill development. We know from what we have learned that education is all about equipping students with skills. But what kind of skills? There are many skills. If you have to get into each one of them, there could be thousands, there could be 18, there could be less. I will just classify them into three, okay? Because we are K-12 heads and we deal with children who are in their formative stage, and we can make this tremendous impact. So first and foremost, I would say it is the social skills. Because this is something that is lacking in children, though they feel they have the gift of the gab, that's not everything. They feel that they are doing best of networking, but that's not the thing. So social skills. And the second skill, which I would say is the technological skill. Now how much? How little? That is something they have to be equipped with. There's so much flooded in the market, and there's so much the children have to be kept with both the learners and the educators. And finally, I would like to say the most important is the cognitive skills. Now cognitive skills, because every individual is intelligent. I will never say any student lacks this. You may lack something, but there is a competency. Identifying them and building upon them and using the cognitive skills is something that I feel is important. So we will put these three together and get all the others under these three headings. Probably would be one of the best employability skill for them to take it in the future.
Yeah, absolutely, very well said. I think it's very important for us to give this ability to children that they can think beyond and question things around them. And I think that would lead to a lot more of betterment in other skills. Kavita, I would move on to curriculum and innovation in curriculum. And my question to you would be, can you share a very specific example or examples in innovative teaching methodologies or curriculum adjustments that you're making in your schools that you have implemented so that you can prepare the children better for the future?
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Revathi, it's a fantastic question because the entire the future scenario is totally on skill based and application of knowledge. So it is really necessary for, as an educator, for all of us to tweak our curriculum as per the current requirement. We have also done lot of research, and in Cambridge in grade 9, the board asked the children to choose the subjects. But in grade 8, they are not aware of what the subject is all about and what the scope is all about. For example, they have been studying sciences throughout the career and social studies, of course, but they are not well equipped with the content, scope and depth of subjects in commerce. So when we ask the children to pick up economics or accounts or business studies, they say what it is. We don't know. And how then in grade 8 the curriculum is so vast that we also cannot give the introduction or teaching of these subjects. So in our curriculum we have kept at least about a week project based learning, where the school funds the children. They are divided into groups, and the teachers give them induction from the production of any product to the sale, marketing, also up to the balance sheet. They go up to the balance sheet. So 5,000 every group or 10,000 every group is given the loan from the school. These children go and buy the raw material. They manufacture in the school. The end product is sold to the parents when the PTM is there. And then the children are taught what is the cost of the product, what is the marketing strategies, how they are going to deal with the banks, how they can take the loan from the bank, what is the meaning of the share, what is a demat account, and how they are going to spend the whole thing, and how they are going to calculate up to balance, how to make the balance sheet. So this is the practical application when they do, and then we ask them to choose. When we give the plethora of the subjects to them, and also including the subjects from the commerce stream, they are very happy to pick up because they know what it is. So this is a practical experience which is a super hit, and the children and the parents both look forward to it. So this is how we have tweaked our curriculum.
Absolutely, these are life skills for children. I think they must know that, and I think many schools follow this right from when the kids are in the kindergarten. When you set up a marketplace and you make children sell, they're learning the very first lessons of what buying and selling is all about. So I think that's what is important. And the other experience that I would like to share where children learn skills is when you take them to the mall. Even as parents, when you take them to the mall, are we able to allow them time for, and the wisdom, and also give them the wisdom to be able to choose what they like to buy, and be able to say no even if it is tempting. So I think that choice, the question of choice is going to be there, and it's a skill that one has to develop very finely, because in future we need all of that. I come to Willibrord George. I cannot ask him anything but technology, because when I see him, it's sort of synonymous with technology, because I'm on groups where he is, and I can see him posting something every day. And the first thing that he told me is, ma'am, I have to do one podcast in your school. Okay, so I think to him it's going to be a technology-based question, and I'm talking in terms of skills which Kalyani mentioned, technology and digital literacy skills. How does your school address the importance of digital literacy and technological skills in today's job market? Are there any specific initiative or courses that you're doing in your school that helps children to develop these skills?
Thank you so much. Just quickly to jump into the question, I'm also being aware of time that we have about 2 minutes per speaker. One of the things that when it comes to technology is that it's an amazing leveler. What I've noticed is, because I work with low-income communities and low-income families, and an Android phone in the hands of a low-income child is the same as the Android phone in the hands of, you know, a more privileged child, which means it suddenly becomes a leverage that creates equality to a certain extent, right? And that equality then brings access and equity in education and things like that. So using technology is an absolute must, and we need to think about how we can get it. We want to be staying 2 or 3 steps ahead of our kids, because our kids are always thinking about, is there a way to do it which involves technology? Are you going to help me use what I know and formulate my skills so that I can produce what you want me to produce but can I use technology while I do that? Now for that, the teachers and educators need to have slightly more open mindset, because you suddenly then become the designer of the instructional experience as opposed to someone who's just like an evaluator of it. So my big insight for myself has been, we got to dissolve these generalizations and these definitions into a spectrum. If we dissolve these things into a spectrum, we probably would be more empathetic towards each category of people that we serve, and then we can serve them at the level at which they absolutely need to. Yeah, so I'm almost out of time actually.
Thanks, and I will now move to Kalyani. Assessment and evaluations are a very integral part of our curriculum. Kalyani, my question to you is, how would you assess or measure the development of employability skills in your school and in the students? And how do you think that these skills will be effectively incorporated in their learning journey?
Yes, I think we can't do without assessment and evaluation. It is all that, kind of a talk that says, children should not be tested. It brings in a lot of pressure. It brings in and all. But I think it's not the examination one should think of. One should actually take it in a positive way, that assessments have to be continually done. There is a fine difference between assessment and evaluation. Assessment is done for individuals to guess, to understand the level gauging, right? And coming to evaluation, it is seen as to how that level gauging was influenced by the other parameters around, and that is called evaluation. And when the gaps are defined, then the correction happens. Because finally, at the end of the day, we educators must understand that we've got to be inclusive. And there is a lot of individual difference. And we can't just say that, okay, we only are worried about those marks on the board and we are top schools and all. Top schools are not one with excellent results. Top schools are those with excellent results and have equipped students with the best of skills, which can be seen as what they do when they go ahead. We all have kept the assessments continually happening, and the evaluation. So this is the formal kind of assessments. The most informal is the ongoing, where we have psychometric tests so that it can be useful for students to choose a particular subject. Or it could also be that you're having learning difficulties, so there are different types of tests to understand those. So these tests and assessments are continuously incorporated into the curriculum. And this is how it ideally works very well in our curriculum, and I'm sure the others are also doing the same.
I think very well said, because I think assessment, the purpose is not to get top 10, 9, 8 scores. It's about assessing where my interest lies and perhaps honing skills where my interest is, and also driving a passion. That's about it. So I think assessment is not about marks, is what Kalyani said, and I think that was very beautifully said. We talk about education as being, something where it's a triangle, where you have the child in the center, you have one point of the triangle with the child, and the other point where it's the teacher or the school, and the third point is a parent. I'm now talking to Kavita about what is the kind of parental involvement that is required for skill development in schools. Very often when we start off with some vocational training in school, skills, and parents will say that, one math period was taken away, or one science period was taken, the practicals was not done. So where do you think that we need to draw the line, and where do you think you can take parents along in your journey for the development of skills?
Good question, Revathi. So, according to my knowledge and study, parent, teacher, student and the school management are the 4 pillars of education. Without that, even if one pillar collapses, the whole education system collapses. So here parental involvement is as important as the management or the student's involvement. Now when we talk about parents, it's very important that what kind of attitude, or we can say in Hindi sanskar, or the values, or what kind of culture he is passing on to the child. Now, in today's scenario, I think we all are educators over here. We see a total shift in the culture, in the discipline, in the teaching learning program after the COVID. What we were experiencing earlier, we planned earlier, it does not work today. So the parental involvement becomes very necessary over here to streamline children's future career, the attitude of the children, the discipline of the children, even the career guidance. So the parents are the first foremost people, those who are going to give the career guidance or choose career along with them in collaboration with the children. Secondly, they need to prepare them for that. So how they are going to prepare? Putting them in lot of simulation activities, which will be organized or are generally organized by the school or the community. So they need to have simulation of that particular career they choose. Now, number 3, the development of that kind of skill. A child who is going to take the qualification out of India in terms of in the field of engineering or something, so they need to prepare for GRE or something like that, or some NEET exams or some entrance kinds of that. The preparation is very important. And 4th is the networking. Like I have done for my child when I was sending her out of India. It is just not like, okay, you go pack up your bag and go. You have got the admission in the university. No, you are supposed to prepare a proper network. So I called all the children, the students, those who were traveling with her, about 21 of them were there, hosted a small meeting or a party with them. We had a good networking, exchange of ideas, views, and how their family and culture is, how we are, how to prepare our own kid. That is very, very important nowadays. Now, the most important, the foremost is the finance. So financial literacy is very important, which we have to impart in the school, at home, by giving them small responsibilities and accountability. So these are the basic things. Then career guidance fairs are there, then community meets are there, simulation activities, then also IV trip, industrial trip. Then those who are highly qualified, specialized parents, they can have a workshop with the children, they can have success stories with the children. Also very important, their internship nowadays. Many children are doing online internship and physical internship. That's a very good way of preparing the children for the future skill development and the career. So the arena is vast. Most of the children are choosing the careers which are out of the box, not the traditional careers are kept aside. And we wonder that the child would like to become the specialist in nail art. The child would like to become specialist in image building. So these are the many, it depends on their research, and since it's a global village now, the entire world is at their fingertips. So the research is the main skill which all the children are learning, and the parents and the school, as a school, we should show them right path to what are the research facts and how do they go about. Then sky's the limit for them. Thank you.
Very beautifully said. I think apart from the academic skills that children must develop, parents must also be very involved with their children's choice of subjects, choice of colleges, or higher education.
1 minute, Revathi. I have forgotten one point which is very important for educators and the parents, to prepare them for failures.
Yes.
It's a very big responsibility of the parents and the
Absolutely.
teachers to prepare them for failures, because we can see so many children going under depression and ending their lives. So that's a
Yes.
very important thing.
Being prepared mentally, physically for the changes that will happen is very important for all of us to prepare our students with. So I think as educators we need to do it, parents need to speak the same language. The kind of values that children have comes from the family culture. then you have a school culture, and there would be an outside culture as well. So there are influences that children will have, but what we really need to keep is there a basic foundation on which the child can stand strongly. So I think that adaptability skills is very, very important, and being prepared mentally for the changes that will happen in our lives is what is very, very important. I now move on again to Willibrord, and I would like to talk in terms of a much used word. The word is lifelong learners, lifelong learning. So my question to you, in this world and age of automation and technology, continuous learning is crucial. Do you instill a mindset of lifelong learning in your children right at an early age, or does it come to them very naturally because there is a culture in school? So how do you build on this concept of lifelong learning? Because when I'm talking about in school, I'm talking about teachers as well. The teachers, because unless teachers keep upgrading, keep learning something new, how do we expect students to keep learning something new? So my question would be on the lines of how do you create that culture of lifelong learning in school?
How much time do I have for that?
Pardon?
How much time do I have for that?
Okay, you must.
Okay.
I don't see the organizer here, but I think you can have 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. So from a lifelong learning perspective, I think today what's happening is, my parents probably took a job and stayed in that job for like 20 years or 30 years. Today, somebody stays in your job for 20 months. And if you are going to be going through different jobs in a typical 30, 35-year lifespan, that means you are probably going to be jumping different industries. If you're going to be jumping different industries, all those lakhs of rupees that you spend in higher education essentially got you that one job, which is that first job, right? So over time, people are going to start thinking, itna paisa main first job ke liye kyun dalu? When that's not the job I'm going to even retire out of. One of the hacks of getting better salaries, if you're a principal or a teacher here, is to just find another job. Because your existing person knows your performance, your new person knows perception, and you'll probably get a 25% raise. If that's the strategy people are going to use, then you are going to jump schools, you're going to jump cultures, you're going to jump processes, and you're going to jump industries. If you're going to jump industries, you have to start learning to take things really fast. You got to learn and you got to grow. There was a time when people would give you like 6 months to learn. Naya hai, management trainee hai, 1 saal dal do. Today you get 30 days to show how good you are. You probably even get pre-interview work that you need to do. I know principals who have given lesson plans to 200 different teachers and said, ye banao, but the principal is so beautifully planned that she's hired 5 people, but she got all the lesson plans for first semester. So these are things that are going to happen. So learning on the job all the time quickly is going to be extremely imperative. How do we promote that in school? So the first thing that I'm saying is, we got to take responsibility. We have to have the courage and the humility to take responsibility. I cannot say, boss, ये इसका मम्मी डैडी सिखाता है उसको. जो भी अच्छा है वो मैंने सिखाया as a school. जो बुरा है वो घर से लेके आता है. We can't say that. We'll have to say अच्छा बुरा, everything we have taught, knowingly or unknowingly in the school. The minute we take on that responsibility and we say that, yes, I acknowledge that this child is the way he or she is, because of the experiences that he's had in my institute, then only we will start making changes happen. One of the changes that we actually look to make happen is to constantly show our teachers, our parents, and our students that तुम्हारा trustee, principal और सब लोग भी पढ़ रहे हैं. They are also learning new things. They are also giving exams. They are also flunking. They're also like, I don't dance, and every time there's an opportunity I dance and I look like a total moron in front of my kids, but my kids are like, he did it better than last time. So you want to show continuous and never-ending improvement and build curiosity in children. I just think the first 10 years or 15 years of a child's life, the child is anyway lifelong learning, because the 14,000 hours he spends in school, educators have ensured that there's a lot of learning happening. That's my time. Thank you.
Very well spoken. I think every one of us, there's a child in us. And therefore, we have to keep that wonder, that creativity, that quest for learning something alive. Without that, I think it won't happen. Now I'm going on to my Jaldi 3. Okay, Jaldi 3 would be 3 questions, one after the other to each one of them. It's basically touching on personal lives as well or professional lives. I know I have not even told them what I'm going to be asking, and I do not know what I'm going to be asking too. But I will definitely try and put it across based on them because I know each one of them quite well. So, Kalyani, my question to you, if you were to develop one skill or you thought you could have developed this skill, I would have made a better professional somewhere else and not necessarily been in teaching line, what would it have been?
What would I choose? Okay, now I think teaching has got so ingrained in my life. So you want to ask me what profession I would have chosen,
you would have chosen.
if I had
that
not
means
been
one
a
skill
teacher?
that you would have developed so that you could have chosen that profession.
I would go to a communication and empathy skill, which I feel because I'm a people's person, and probably I would have chosen something where I can serve the society and be useful to the country.
Let's give it a very big hand because I think that's the purpose of any education is that we can serve the society. And let me tell you, you're already serving the society, you know, because when you are teaching children, you're already doing that and doing it wonderfully so, Kalyani. So thank you very much for that. To Kavita, I'd ask this question on if you think something is really lacking in the country, what is that one skill on the whole among students?
Something is lacking.
Lacking. One skill that children do not have. You feel that.
I didn't get it.
In the society we are seeing, because we are seeing students in our schools, what is that one skill that you feel that children are still lacking?
They are uprooted from their own culture. That is lacking.
Wonderful.
If our culture was intact, all this chaos wouldn't have happened.
While we cannot generalize, welcome Simi, while we cannot generalize, it is definitely there that a little more of efforts need to be put into understanding themselves and understanding the society around them. So, before I go to my third question, you can.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a round of applause for Miss Simi Sharma, who's just joined us. So for the last 5 minutes, ma'am, we would love to hear from you.
So I'm going to ask Simi a question which is completely on career counseling. So my question to you, Simi, would be, what role does career guidance and counseling play in your school? How does it help students in making very informed choices when they are moving out of school?
Right, thank you so much. And first of all, my apologies for being late. You know, we all know that career guidance and choosing a career is quite a tricky business. It's almost like groping in the dark, you know, like those 7 blind men. And a lot of times, you know, we try to make judgments with, you know, very little information or some tidbits of advice that we receive from here and there. So I think the first most important thing is for children and for making children realize that it is actually a very you know, big thing which has multiple perspectives and multiple dimensions. So it involves their own self-awareness, but also the awareness of the market. You know, what are their personal interests, skills, values, and the market trends. So for them to be able to get a hang of what is it that will really work for them, it's a process, you know, which of course most of us do the aptitude testing and, you know, help them identify what their interests are and, you know, what are they inclined towards. But that's not about it. You know, they need to also be looking at what the world values. and what really works for them when they actually enter a place of work. So a lot of internships and interacting with professionals, who will mentor them, because a lot of times they say, oh, I want to be a lawyer, but when you send them to a lawyer's office for a couple of days, they come back with a headache and say, oh no, I can't be doing this for the rest of my life. So, giving them a whole perspective, we have something called career talks that we hold every Friday. So every Friday, a professional is invited to speak to them about what it is to live as a, financial analyst, or, as a marketing head. And I think that's what gives children a window into, okay, is that the kind of life I want to live? And then, of course, go through internships for the programs that they choose and that they think they want to, try out. And having very regular sessions by counselors as well. Because, of course, they need to do their own online research. That's another thing, we would encourage them to do. But having a very regular sort of an interaction with career counselors as well, meeting professionals, and, having a certain one-on-one meetings where sometimes we sit with the families trying to chalk out what would be the best option. So it's a, complex but a continuous kind of a process, that requires consistent guidance. And yet they may go to the university and discover, oh, I still want to make a change. Yeah.
My second question is also to you only, because with the changing job markets, so one is that you have the career counseling, or you have speakers from different jobs and different job profiles coming across talking to your students. But my question is different. That is one person talking or 10 specialists talking. What about teachers? Are they keeping themselves upgraded with the kind of professions that are happening around them, so that during the course of their teaching in the classrooms, they're able to integrate life skills into that?
Grooming teachers and the capacity building of teachers is a big challenge. It's again, there is no one easy answer. The first thing is, I think most of us are having to deal with and having to deliver things that we have never experienced ourselves. And also, everybody who is stepping into the teaching profession is not coming with, certain intellectual abilities, and that kind of acumen to really be a great learner themselves. So it's a challenge, and I think one of the things we would do to really address this challenge of expertise is find the experts and call them to school. So for example, if there is a lot of project-based learning happening, and the teachers often struggle with project-based learning because they need to know a lot more than their subject. They need to know a lot more of what's really happening in the life out there. So I think the best thing we do is invite the expert, invite the lawyer, invite the panchayat, sarpanch, invite people, and the students learn from them, but so do the teachers. So invite the experts so that our expertise can be built over a period of time. That's one of the things. And of course, create experts is something we all try to do through workshops and professional developments, but we all know it doesn't work. And I think what really is required is a consistent staff support program where we have mentoring and coaching, and then of course observation and feedback. Now this is easier said than done. Mentoring and coaching on an everyday basis is a lot of work for the mentors, But that's something, we need to invest in, and we need to invest in our own professional developments as leaders. Because I think as leaders, we can hire a professional to come and train for a day a week, but we are there every single day. And I think what impacts the teachers in the classroom is us. So investing in also our own professional development, and making sure that we can coach and take our team forward is, I think, probably the answer.
I think empowering the entire school is very, very important, and apart from upskilling, it's also important to empower each one, and that's where you can see your school at the next higher level. We were doing a Jaldi 3, now I'll do a Jaldi 4, with 2 done, 2 more to do. So my question to you, where would you classify? It's only a one word or a maximum of 4 words or 6 words, okay? So an answer. My question to you is skill development, a curricular activity or co-curricular activity?
A project-based curriculum. Integrated, interdisciplinary, because that project-based curriculum has lot of extracurricular, and it's a wholesome package. Just to give you an example, our kindergarten kids just finished this Saturday, was the open day, and they finished a project on fields to table. And of course, they learned how the production to processing to packaging to marketing and all of that happens. And then they were supposed to create their own products. And every year they make a choice. Sometimes they make a ketchup, and this year they decided to make cupcakes. Now, it was so wonderful when the parents came back and were talking to teachers about how the kids would come back thinking at home, oh, I have to come up with a company name, and I'm really struggling, We are toying with these, They had to come up with a marketing strategy because we showed them different marketing, options, but they had a budget. And each group had to decide what, so some chose the billboards and the radio jingles, somebody chose something else. Making those kind of decisions, packaging, designing the logo, coming up with their own commercial. There's a absolute, repertoire of skills that these children are building by the minute. Even when they're writing down the requisition slips to send to the store, of course their spellings are all over the place and doesn't matter, but they're writing down the products they need and everything. I think these are real employability life skills.
In fact, just earlier in this discussion, Simi, we were talking about making choices and how do we give that, and you are rightly highlighting that. My last question, and 1 word or 2 words answer to Willibrord, is what is one future skill that you sort of look forward to?
You have to look at it as a skill, but kindness is what I would go for. The heart to forgive.
Absolutely, very beautifully said. I think it really deserves a big applause, because I think it's very important for us to prepare our children to be human. How do we reach across? We come to the end of this discussion. I hope there are lessons, messages, tips that we carry home. And it's always not that it's a new knowledge, but it's always sharing of the experiences that adds to our knowledge. I'd like to end on this note that to me, what really surfaces right on top of all the skills are 2 skills: building skills and selling skills. Building skills is being able to prepare something from the scratch. So are we giving our students that skill to be able to prepare something from nothingness? So there is nothing in front of you, but can I create it? That doesn't mean a model. It doesn't mean a product always. It also means an idea. I have no idea at all. I've not given you anything, but I'm just telling you. For example, she mentioned something on a name to be given. Okay? How do I come across with a name? From nothing. Let me build something. It amounts to a lot of creativity skills. It's amount to a lot of teamwork, because people have to sit together to work on it. The second very important skill is selling skills. And that's also in education. And selling skills is not about selling a product. Am I able to convince the others? Am I able to persuade others to believe what I'm believing in? Am I able to listen to someone else and, yes, buy their thought as well? Am I able to communicate effectively is also a selling skill. You're selling an idea. That's important for us to develop, because without these 2 skills, we wouldn't have a world. And the world that I see a future is going to be, yes, with a lot of technology, AI and all the kinds. But what I'm trying to say is that the skills that people are looking forward to are skills, the prompting ones. Can I write a prompt? Very important. And for that, I must have clarity of thought. And that clarity of thought is very important, for which we must allow our children to think. On that note, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you for giving us all an opportunity to express our opinions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and thank you so much to all the panelists. That was a wonderful discussion. We all thoroughly enjoyed it, didn't we? Can I now request Mr. Anil Sharma to be accompanied by Mr. Yoginder Patidhar from Sivom to please join us on stage and felicitate the panelists. Let's hear it, ladies and gentlemen, for all the panelists. It was a wonderful discussion, and I'm sure we took back a lot from the same. Thank you so much to all the panelists.